Configure customized movie screen.
Field of view maximized.
Power up revolutionary projection system.
Crystal clear images enhanced.
Calibrate powerful digital speakers.
Laser aligned sounds perfected.
Prepare audience for maximum impact.
Audience engaged for full immersion.
Joanna, and I'm going to tackle about Cisco. First is, what is the history of routers? A router is a computer networking device that forward data packets towards their destinations through a process known as routing. Routing occurs at layer 3 of the OSI 7-layer model. Routing is most commonly associated with the Internet protocol, although other less popular routed general-purpose computing serve as routers, although general-purpose also computers can perform routing. Modern high-speed routers are highly specialized computers, generally with extra hardware added to accelerate both common routing functions such as packet forwarding and specialized functions such as IP, section, encryption. Other changes also improve reliability, such as using battery rather than main powers, and also using solid state rather than magnetic storage. Well, modern routers have thus come to resemble telephone switches, whose also technology they are currently converging with may eventually replace. The first modern is dedicated standard alone. Routers will be fuzzball routers also. Yes, and that's all about the history of routers. And the next one was the parts of routers. First is the features. Outwardly, a router looks a lot like a cable modem. Flashing indicator lights adorn its front. A series of cables and a power cord extend out from its back. Wireless routers also sports a vertical antenna. Open the casing and you will find a set of printed circuit boards. There is one for each active cable port. Closing lights of motherboard replete with internal clock. Central processing unit, which is CPU, strips of dynamic random access DRAM memory. Read-only memory, which is ROM, and flash memory. So that is the features. And the next was the circuit boards. The printed circuit boards repackage outgoing data streams to fit the transmission requirements to the network to which its adjoining cable port connects. And eventually, conversely, they read incoming data streams. These extraneous protocols. So for example, you may have one board and then it is supports by Ethernet. Another taken ring in edge routers at network gateways. One or more provisions to internets, transmission protocol. And then in core routers interconnecting backhaul networks, other layering signal system is a telecommunications protocol. Next is the CPU. The CPU at the heart of the motherboard reads the incoming message header and determines the destinations. CPUs vary in size of speeds depending on the router's workload. Wireless home and broadband office devices clock in up to 11 megabytes per second or 54 Mbps. 248 Mbps routers are under development, yet much buzzier edge routers generally clock in anywhere between 10 and 100 gigabytes per second. And next is the main memory. DRAM stores the operating system software, the running configuration file, and the routing tables. It is in constant use as a specialized type of DRAM used of a packet buffer feeding the CPU. Routers contain everything from 16 megabytes to 4 gigabytes of DRAM because it retains data when power is actually off. Non-volatile random access acts as a backstop by storing the router's configuration file. And then the flash memory also holds the data, but can be easily changed. An updatable version of router's operating system is thus stored there. Actually, permanent ROM contains code that will reboot the operating system in the event of catastrophic failure. And the last of the parts of routers was the router operations. The router contains the IP number of message recipient. Every computer on the net has its own unique number. To know where to send message next, the CPU contains a routing table stored in its main memory. This software tells the CPU the next hop or destination, the most effective route, and the direct and indirect subnets. The data packet must still navigate to get there. Then it passes the message on the appropriate circuit board to send. Hi, and I'm going again to tackle about what is operating system of Cisco routers. Introduction on it. Information is a strategic asset that can make or break the company's fortunes in today's global economy. Computer internetworks are the electronic highways upon which that information travels, and they unify the world to create new and better ways of doing business. And then, next is, with so much of stake, an organization's internetwork must have the ability to increase the overall productivity of its people and resources. To do this, it can maximize the availability of applications while it minimizes the total cost of ownership. This means providing the users with continual access to the flexible and reliable network. It also means that it is keeping in check the expenses that an organization must absorb and over time in order to develop and maintain its information systems and services. No company in this world can match take Cisco systems when it comes to maximizing an internet network applications, availability, and minimizing its total cost of ownership. Actually, over the last decade, our proven technology and wide range of scalable solutions have enabled us to set the pace of its internet working industry. More than anything else, Cisco owes its leadership position to Cisco's unique and robust Inter-Network Operating System, iOS. Cisco iOS is value-added software that resides at the heart of all Cisco Internet working solutions. The Cisco iOS is Cisco's key to help make information-intensive companies all over the world productive. And ultimately, That is the greatest benefit that any internet network can provide. Next is the Cisco iOS, the unifying thread. Just as a personal computer improves individual productivity, right? An efficient internet networks improves the productivity of large group of people. And in the same way that a local area network, which is the LAN, relies on a software-driven network operating system, which is the NOS, to function. An internet network depends on a sophisticated operating system also implemented in software to effectively connect such as users all over the world today. And internet network intelligence lies on its operating system actually. Network hardware inevitability changes every few years. Actually, it really changes with the instruction of new generations of processors, switching, and memory components. But the internet network software is the unifying thread that connects otherwise disparate networks and provides a scalable migration paths of needs evolved. And then, just as enterprise invest in LAN, networks operating system that can evolve a new hardware and applications are introduced there. The Cisco iOS is that strategic investment that enables organizations to safeguard the future and for internet networks actually. And the next was the Cisco iOS supports inevitable change and migration through its ability to integrate and evolving classes of network platforms. This includes routers, ATM switches, LAN and WAN switches, file servers devices that have a strategic impact on organizations' internet network. By powering Cisco platforms and those delivered by technologies partners who incorporate Cisco iOS into their products. And now, I'm going to tell you about brief history of Cisco. During the early 1980s, there was a married couple, namely Len and Sandy Bosak, who used to work in two different departments of computer located in Stanford University. This couple was facing problem in many their computers communicate with each other, so they have problem of their computers. So in order to overcome this problem, they made a gateway server in their living room, so which led to a simpler way of making two departments communicate each other by helping of IP protocol. So think of it. IP is very important in Cisco. So they founded Cisco Systems with small c in 1984. So remember in 1984. So having a small commercial gateway server which brought a revolution in networking. The name of company was changed to Cisco Systems Incorporation in 1992. Advanced Gateway Server was the first marketed product of the company. After this came to Mid-Range Gateway Server, which is MGS, the Compact Gateway Server, which is the CGS, the Integrated Gateway Server, IGS, and AGS Passive. So Cisco eventually created routers of shall we say something happened in here, and it actually ends with 3000 series. These routers still exist and are enhancing daily. Cisco is might the leader of the world when it comes to networking for the internet. The products of this company leads to simplicity in accessing and transferring information regardless of the differences in time, place, and platform. Cisco also supplies a huge range of hardware products which create information networks by the help of the Cisco Internetwork Operating System, which is the iOS software. Cisco iOS gives network services and make a route of networked technical support and services. Another program made by Cisco is to assist the big amount of hardware in the Cisco Certificate Internetwork Expert, which is the CCIE program. CCIE program helps in managing the large number of installed Cisco networks. The CCIE program helps in making people take care of complicated networks. Cisco is still monitoring this program constantly in order to do possible transitions needed to meet the everyday requirements of internetworking business places. Due to the very successful CCIE program, you can be certified in a network. Next is, I'm going to name you the different certificates of Cisco. In Associate, there are CCNA, CCDA, CCNA Data Center, CCNA Security, CCNA Service Provider, CCNA Service Provider Operations, CCNA Video, CCNA Voice, CCNA Wireless, and for professional, there are CCDP, CCNP, CCNP Data Center, CCNP Security, CCNP Service Provider, CCNP Service Provider Operations, CCNP Voice, CCNP Wireless. And that would be all. Thank you for listening.